Good day. Today, I'll present the reflection paper about the factors that limits the widespread of wireless networks. The significant progress in wireless technologies has caused a great growth of personal communications. There has been a significant impact due to the rapid expansion of mobile communications and wireless networks for voice, picture, and video transfer, internet access, and other data transfer applications. The development of wireless communication has affected most every day-to-day activity, such as household activities, occupational, leisure, sports, displacements, healthcare activities, and even human relationships, which has caused an increasing interest in ubiquitous communications. The Information and Communications Technology or ICT revolution continues as more users adopt wireless systems, both for personal uses and in business dealings. Today, up to half of all broadband-connected households in some countries have wireless access. Major cities are increasingly being serviced by multiple wireless providers and access points, so that wireless devices can be used from almost any urban location. However, there are some factors that limits the expansion of the wireless networks, such as physical obstructions, network range and distance between devices, wireless network interference, spectrum channel limitations, and wireless signal restriction. Those are just some of the limitations to the widespread of the wireless networks. In this paper, we are also to identify on how are we going to overcome the limitations on wireless networks. Wireless signals can travel through atmosphere. They are susceptible to different types of interference than standard wired networks. Interference weakens wireless signals and therefore is an important consideration when working with wireless networking. Wireless interference is an important consideration when you are planning a wireless network. Interference is unfortunately inevitable, but the trick is to minimize the levels of interference. The following are some factors cause interference, such as physical obstructions. The more obstructions you have between the transmitter and the receiver, the more chances there is that the signal strength will be affected. So you should try and maintain as clear a line of sight as possible and distance between devices. The farther apart the network devices that are trying to communicate with each other, the more the signal strength drops. The signal strength decreases roughly in an inverse cubic relation with respect to the distance between the two devices. Spectrum channel limitations. This typically only affects wireless networks that operate at only popular frequency bands, such as 2.4 GHz, but may start to affect the 5 GHz band in the future if people migrate in a group. Wireless networks operates on frequency subbands known as channels that are smaller bandwidths within their overall possible operating frequencies. However, this means that only 3 wireless devices can cause within the same area unless overlapping channels are to be used. Wireless signal restriction. For security reasons, you may want to restrict the transmission of your wireless signal to only the areas that you want to provide network access for. This can be troublesome as controlling signal propagation is not easy as it can travel through walls into other buildings or outside areas where some countries could try to connect without authorization. Limiting transmitter power levels to only cover the required area is one method of solving this issue, but it has the knock-on effect that signal strengths will be weaker to all receiving devices. Using directional antennas to limit the signal spread can also be effective. in limiting the area in which the signal covers. Geographic location is an area or a certain place is also a factor that limits the expansion of wireless networks. These are the ways on how to overcome limitations. Wireless point-to-point Ethernet bridges can connect two remote locations together to create a network link, allowing large organizations to single users to share valuable data where it is required without the costly infrastructure issues involving cabling. Wireless point-to-multipoint links can create a scalable interference resistant networks that have the capacity to work with many static or mobile endpoints whilst offering high bandwidth speed, allowing subscribers to connect the same network across varying locations. Wireless mesh networking is a cost-effective way of providing wireless connectivity easily over a large area using wireless mesh nodes to communicate between each other to spread the network. Traditional Wi-Fi networks rely on a small number of wired access points to provide hotspots for users to connect, whereas with mesh networks, there only has to be at least one node connected to a wired Ethernet connection, with the other nodes connecting to it through neighboring nodes. Data travels across the network from one point to another by hopping wirelessly from one mesh node to the other. The nodes automatically determine the quickest and most reliable path in the process known as dynamic routing, switching paths and providing connectivity if one fails. Some mesh devices can act as repeaters and access points at the same time, allowing subscribers gain internet and network access whilst the connection is also being sent to the other mesh nodes on a different frequency to allow more clients to connect elsewhere. This means that these specific mesh devices operate with two radios, one to control the data traffic flow and one to provide the network service to other node branches. These two radios operate on different frequencies, usually either 900 MHz, 2.4 GHz, and 5 GHz. Given the limitations of wireless networks, it is very difficult to expand even though there are many benefits of using technology. Expanding wireless network requires multifaceted effort. The analysis presented in the paper has demonstrated the techniques that have been used to deepen wireless networks and to expand this network. This includes the point-to-point Ethernet bridges, can connect two remote locations together to create a network link allowing large organizations to single users to share valuable data where it is required without the costly infrastructure issues involving cabling.